Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is likely to be day 96 of the longing, maybe 97. I'm not sure. How the time flies. Should be reading more. We will be making our way because it has almost certainly been long enough such that we can make our way back up to the top and check on our mushroom situation yet again. Let's take a walk. And we shall do this. Wonderful. I realized when I was making my walk down here that I was talking about regret because I thought that was something I wanted to talk about, and I noticed as I was doing so that I forgot one of the major things that I wanted to bring up, and I remembered what it was, and it was that there's a comic that I really love. That is, I found the comic. It is from existentialcomics.com, where normally this guy makes comics where he's sort of, and I should be picking up coal, but I don't want to have to go back and click the waypoint every time I pick up coal, so I don't know if I'm going to bother. And it messes up my flow of conversation as well. Anyway, the guy normally, he takes philosophers, famous philosophers, and he sort of turns them into caricatures that are arguing points of everyday life, or sometimes in crazy ways, sometimes amongst themselves. And that's so far what I could tell the majority of these comics are, but sometimes they're not, and I particularly like this one. Let's see, it's just called Two Brothers, I think. Yeah, Two Brothers. So the long story short of it, it's these two brothers. They grow up, and as they grow up, they end up having a point of choice in their life. And the point of choice is whether they're going to stay on the farm that they grew up on and take care of the farm and live that life, or whether they're going to set out and travel and make a life out of traveling. And one of them chooses to go traveling, and the other decides to stay home. And as we follow the brother who chose to stay home, and we see him toiling, and we see him going through his life and everything, but it doesn't satisfy him, and he always is looking out towards the mountains, and he's thinking, I wish I had chosen otherwise. I wish that I had been the one to choose to go and to explore and to travel. And eventually, when they're both old men, the traveling brother comes back to the brother who stayed home, and they talk. And the brother who stayed home tells about how he wishes that if only I had gone out traveling as well. And the brother tells him back that, like, I felt the same. I wished I had that I had stayed home, and even says, let's see, da, 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 da. What a tragic tale then for us two, that you had not my place and I you. And then the other brother is like, dude, you missed the whole point of this goddamn comic. Whoever would roam, whoever would stay, we both would regret it either way. So the idea that it's not that there was something intrinsic about these characters that they just chose wrong, and if they had only chosen right, everything would have been good. It's that the heart wants for what it doesn't have. And when you make a choice, you can focus on what you're losing out on, and when you focus on what you're losing out on, you tend to regret that. And so, like, everybody can fall into this regret, but it's not necessarily that you've chosen wrong. It's like there's something beyond that. And in addition to that, let's see, what was the other thing? Now I'm forgetting the other thing that I wanted to bring up related to this. Oh, and now we have to manually move. Did I ever make a I never made a waypoint that was up there. I'll need to make a waypoint at the mushroom place. What was that other thing? Maybe I'm not gonna remember. I'm gonna give myself a period of a little bit of silence to try and see if I can remember the other thing that I'm thinking of, that I'm trying to think of. Well, I can't remember it. But this music that's playing when we enter this room, it reminds me of this music that would play. And I had this when I was a little kid, this weird giant tablet thing is the closest I can compare it to in today's technology. That was like, it was really big, and it was like you'd press buttons on it, and it was sort of like a really shitty primitive touchscreen, but with little pictures and stuff. And it was of the whole solar system with pictures. And there was this guy with this voice that my mom always made fun of, who would come on and he'd be like, "Welcome to the solar system." And it would play music like ding, ding, ding. And I don't know if it did the also din, or if it just stopped there, sort of like the music when you go through that place that I was just in. But that was really cool. It had like like everything that you could press on. Like you'd press on Saturn, for instance, and then the guy would like go like, "Saturn is a really cool planet. Saturn is all this stuff about it. It's got rings, and look at all that stuff." And then you could like press a different button to like tell me how hot Saturn is. Saturn is da 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 Celsius or something. And I love that thing. I got so much knowledge, but then I don't remember things like how hot Saturn is. I remember that it takes 8 minutes for light from the sun to reach Earth, but that was also cemented into me from other TV shows and stuff, so it might not have been from that. Who knows what I actually picked up from that thing, but I know that I played that loud thing long enough to cement that guy's voice into my parents' heads. Let me up here, let me up. You know, I wish I remember that other thing, because I don't want to have to. Like the second I do remember the other regret-related story that, like this brothers thing, I'm gonna feel like the necessity to put it in another longing episode, even though like this should have all been in one episode and not awkwardly spread out between several. But it is what it is, I guess. We're almost there. You know, since we have so many of these bases, might as well just let's put one here. Yeah, I can always overwrite them. Don't matter. It don't matter to me. Well, let's see. I have this up. This all of this stuff with the comic. I'm gonna put that away so I can read something else. No, no, no. Oh, yes. Let me walk this way. Let's see what we have in the way of topics. You're comparing yourself to other people. Pretty obvious that everyone says, don't compare yourself to other people. It's really bad to compare yourself to other people, especially in the age of technology, where you can so easily be tricked into thinking that what you're seeing on social media and such is how people's lives are, when really that's just the highlights. I think that in itself is pretty simple. A lot of people have talked on that. It's just the problem with that is it's hard to actually follow through once you know that to like it's so hard not to compare yourself to people. How do you not when you see like some child prodigy that's like younger than you and they've done more than you? How do you not feel that spike of pain of just, oh fuck, I haven't done any of that shit. I wish I don't know what I wish, but I just feel anxiety that I haven't done as much as that guy. But something I heard very early on in Naruto, that first arc of Naruto, where Naruto meets that one kid who is younger than him, but he's already way stronger than him, and he's sort of Naruto's kind of pouting about it, and he's like, what? He's kind of mad and frustrated and yelling about it, and Kakashi kind of slams down on him and is like, Naruto, you need to grow up, because like in the sense that there will always be people who are younger than you, that have accomplished more, who haven't had to work as hard, or maybe have worked harder than you, and you just can't match up to that. You just you can't expect that that you can be the best. Like you need to accept that things like this, and that might sound really lame and obvious, but somehow hearing it in Naruto really hit me, and I really I think about that a lot. I watched, I forget the name of the guy now, it's gonna bother me, but in my YouTube recommendations was some guy talking about classic literature and books and such, and I find out that the guy he's done all this reading, and he's super knowledgeable, and I think he knows multiple languages or something, and is in college already, and he's only 18, and he's doing all this shit, and he's got this YouTube channel that's fairly successful, and he's very well spoken, and like none of that's crazy to me or anything. It's just that then I think like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and what the frick have I been doing all this time? But in reality, I've been enjoying myself, so for the most part. I don't know what he's losing. That guy might be losing out on because of the things he's focusing on. You can't just like everyone's gonna have something they regret because we don't have infinite time. We can't do everything at once. Yeah. Carrying this glowing mushroom reminds me of some fantastic times I've had with friends where I got glow-in-the-dark bubbles. This sounds really stupid, but hear me out. Glow-in-the-dark bubbles. And what was these bubbles, like, they weren't very, like, you'd think, oh, so you blow the bubbles in the dark and then you look at the bubbles and they're glow in the dark. It wasn't really good for that purpose. What it was good for is you blew the bubbles, they barely glue it, what's the past tense of glow? Glowed? They barely glowed at all. Oh, and even that background mushroom turned big. That's a good sign, because that background mushroom was there for so long. Let's plant this mushroom while we're at it. Can we plant this mushroom? And then I'll finish my story about the, I'll finish my story in a second about the glow-in-the-dark bubbles. If I had just kept going with the story, I probably would have finished it by now, but I had to stop and pretend like otherwise, or whatever. Okay, now we can use our Matic. Get rid of that. Now, this is the correct place for this mushroom. Now we pick up this mushroom. Harvest. And then We plant this as close as we can to this pink one. Ooh. Yep. Grow. And with any luck, I'll actually be able to do this perfectly this time. Fantastic. But before we end, I'll tell you how to use glow-in-the-dark bubbles. So what you do is with the lights off or on, because you probably won't be able to see the glow-in-the-dark bubbles when they're inflated and floating around anyway, you blow the bubbles, but then they'll pop in the room. So you want to do this indoors. They'll pop in the room, and the little bits of glow-in-the-dark soap will make little splatter patterns all over everything in the house. You want it really to be on the ceiling, best case scenarios, but you can have it everywhere. And then when you when you turn off all the lights and your eyes adjust, it'll take a little bit of time for your eyes to adjust to where they're sensitive enough for you to see it. It'll look like you're in a giant room full of stars, and it's really beautiful. And it's really trippy and cool to see everything like spotted like that. I know it sounds stupid, but don't knock it till you try it. I've done this twice and with friends, and it was great both times. Well, with that, I'm going to end the. Well, first let's move away so that in case there is any meaning behind us being our character blocking the growth of the mushrooms, it won't. Let us end the episode here. And I will talk to you guys next time. See you later. Bye.